Good Saturday morning, Looney Tunes fans. It is I, Trevor Thompson, the self-appointed Looney Tunes critic, in here with you. It's Saturday morning. Such a good feeling to be watching our favorite cartoons, and it's even better if you're in the company of friends. And it's the first Saturday of the month, so I have a friend with me. It's our good buddy Matt Hunter, a curator extraordinaire over at Golden Age Cartoons, an all-around good guy. And Matt actually picked this cartoon. I think you said it's your favorite cartoon?
Yeah, it's probably my favorite Chuck Jones cartoon anyway.
Yeah.
It's definitely up there in my top 5 Warner Brothers cartoons. And part of the reason for it is that I think Claude is a really underrated and funny character.
Yeah.
And also the timing of this cartoon is just, yeah, there you go.
Right, I mean,
it's just brilliant. And if you've ever owned pets, you really understand this cartoon. It's what Jones would call a baseboard cartoon because it's, from a pet's point of view. But this guy, by the way, the master, I have to point out, is voiced by Robert C. Bruce, who is the guy who did all the narrations for those Tex Avery travelogue cartoons.
Yeah.
And I think one of the earliest he worked on was Dangerous Dan McFoo by Tex Avery, and that was also the first time you heard Arthur Q. Bryan as the voice of Elmer Fudd, except it'll really throw you off because he's the voice of this dog character that's totally unrelated to Elmer. Yeah. But both of them came from KFWB, which was the Warner Brothers radio station that was right next door to the studio. So,
and you said he called these Chuck called these baseboard cartoons?
Yeah. I read that in a interview with him somewhere. I can't remember where it was, but he called it a baseboard cartoon, like a Tom and Jerry or something like that. That's from the point of view of a dog or a cat. You see the baseboard of the house.
Right. Oh, okay. I get it.
Yeah.
Now I get it. I see. Interesting.
Yeah. And what you'll see here too is Claudia.
Yeah, he's asking for it.
He's asking for it. But, and of course we'd established Mark Anthony and Pussyfoot in Feed the Kitty, which is a classic. Everybody knows that. And we don't see Pussyfoot again for a while because he's in that jar. But the rest of it is Mark Anthony trying to get back in the house. And the timing and Carl Stallings' music are just incredible in this cartoon. And you'll hear him count steps here in a little while, and it's like, dun 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 dun. It's perfect.
And also the little touches too, like he has a toothpick with him to prop open the mail slot, and just oh my god, Jesus.
It gets brutal.
Yeah. This is one of those cartoons you don't see on TV a lot, I imagine, for the same reason, because it's just, 2 or more characters beating each other up.
For 7 minutes,
no morals, no morality statements, not trying to make you a better kid. It's just pure
mocking him.
Yeah, he's like, you have jowls. I forgot about that joke. I forgot all about that one.
Yep. I tell you, this is one that every time I watch it doesn't matter. Anytime I see it, I laugh my butt off. It's just funny.
This one in Cheese Chasers is a good cartoon for this dog. I forget. Is this Mark Anthony? I mean,
Mark Anthony. Yeah.
But is Mark Anthony is it Mark Anthony in Cheese Chasers, or is he just a bulldog?
Well, it might as well be. It looks like. The difference is he talks.
Yeah.
And
that's another thing Chuck was so masterful at at this time was expressions. He speaking of Feed the Kitty, that one expression where he has the eyes big like Bambi's, like, and she's like, "What have you got behind your back?" That one drawing Chuck spent like all day on. Just to get it right.
Yeah. And so he filled up a wastebasket with it or something. Like he just couldn't get it right, and he was such a perfectionist. He's like, no, it has to be, perfect.
Yes, right. Because it's one of those things where that he used to say that was correct, which is that the single frame had to be respected. So it's like if the drawing is only going to register for a few seconds, that expression has to be right away. You have to know exactly what he's feeling. And while there might have been some that were halfway there in terms of the expression, Chuck's expressions I'm not a huge fan of when he of when everything comes to a halt and he just looks, and there's blinks and stuff, and he does that a little too much sometimes. But
and
he really is the master of an expression.
Yeah, well, this is an example of what his Tom and Jerry cartoons could have been if he knocked that off. Because that's all they are, is just like Tom mugging at the camera.
Well, he was he was alone on those cartoons, wasn't he? I didn't like he was that was when he was starting to do his own gag man.
Yeah,
which he really shouldn't have been. I love this.
Why, Claude? What's bothering you? And this ending is just hysterical. It's the only line spoken by Mel Blanc in the entire cartoon, and it's just at this point Claude didn't talk a whole lot in the cartoons, and so to hear him at the end,
it's Jazzy Jeff. Sorry, Jazzy Jeff reference.
Yeah.
Just one of those days, I guess.
We've all had those days.
Yeah. And we're going to keep having them. We'll see you next week, everybody.